see his confidence just growing?
Yeah, I think so. I think sometimes as coaches, you may have more confidence in a guy than maybe he does, because he doesn't really know what he doesn't know at that point. But, you're kind of, can kind of see some things that are coming. And, and there's several other guys. I think, DeAndre Overton's a guy that continues to play well. And, TJ Chase and Trevion Thompson, those guys, Amari Rogers. Continue to make plays. But, yeah, I definitely would say over the last 3 or 4 weeks, T's confidence in practice and just his knowledge and, being able to go out and play full speed. The best play that he made all night was on the 3rd and 10 on the touchdown drive, and they were in cover 2, and he had, a great linebacker, number 10, right there on his hip pocket, trying not to let him inside. And T did a great job of staying vertical all the way till he got his depth, and then throwing him by, getting underneath, and the ball's right there. And again, that's something that a junior or senior, receiver, that's really what you kind of expect out of them. So for T to be in that situation for the first time and make that play, was big time for us and much needed on that drive.
Miami, I've noticed in watching a lot of their games, I think of their 28 turnovers, I think 14 or 15 are forced fumbles. And it's, by the way, the hitting and corralling to the ball. How do you simulate that practice, especially when you guys don't like that during the week?
Yeah, I think the scout team, they try to rip the ball out, and we will do some good on good. And when we do that, our defense coaches are coaching their guys to try to rip it out. When we're doing our flex, a little unorthodox, we have all the guys with the ball while we're doing flex runs, and the coaches are coming up behind them trying to knock it out, and just anything we can do to kind of simulate that. And then the big thing is to coach off of it and to show it. We'll put the cut up together and show them that these guys are trying to rip it out. South Carolina actually had done a good job going into our game of ripping the ball out, knocking it out, and causing fumbles. And so we made that a big point of emphasis going in. That was a concern going into the game last week, and so it'll be the same thing this week, getting ready for these guys.
What makes Hunter Renfro so special, such a good guy? 3rd down and 4, 3rd down and 5. About 50 balls, 20 of them come on 30.
Yeah, that's a great question. If I knew that, I would be able to go out and find a few more guys just like him. He's definitely special. He's unique. You kind of run out of words to talk about him. That's why I said that touchdown is just going to kind of add to the legend of Hunter Renfro. And to go along with that, he's probably the most humble player on our entire team. So it makes it a lot of fun to have him in your wide receiver room and around your offense. But, I think his understanding of what defenses are trying to do and maybe where they're a little bit weak, just like the touchdown catch that he had, being able to slide back inside when the defense played it very well. I mean, you got to give them credit. They knew what was coming. They checked it off and had a little zone presentation there, and Hunter just kind of one-upped them by stepping back inside, knowing where the opening was. So I think his instincts, his awareness, and then, he's got some God-given ability, being able to change direction like he does, play as low as he does, I think is really rare. And I'm glad we got him on our team.
What's the health of Travis?
I'll let Coach Sweeney answer that. I mean, I think we expect him to be good to go, but I'm sure Coach Sweeney will have some comments on that here later on in the week.
Just another case of him being overlooked.
I think that's great. It kind of just feeds the fire. Hunter probably doesn't even know that. I didn't know that until you said that. But, that's kind of who he's been his whole career. Is just kind of the guy in the shadows that comes out and makes the plays when you need him. He's not the biggest and most flashiest player, and he's probably not going to be the first receiver drafted whenever his time comes. But you look up 8 or 10 years from now, he's probably going to be one of the last guys still playing, and that's just who he is. And he really could care less about any of that stuff. But we like it that he kind of stays under the radar, and we just pull him out when we need him. And he made that point. He plays well when we're wearing those orange pants when championships are on the line. So I think there's something to be said for that.
Speaking of that play that scored that first one, that looked like Crush from the national championship game. Maybe presented a little different, but does that show how Kelly is really getting comfortable with receivers? That it's defended really well, but they both make the same
Yeah, that's obviously a play that we run a lot in those type of situations, and it's probably the first time in the last 10 times that we've ran it that somebody recognized it and kind of quartered it off right there. But yeah, it was, I think it spoke to two guys have to be on the same page to be able to execute that quickly. There was a linebacker that was trailing right there. That ball would have been thrown any later. It had a chance to get intercepted. So I think just Kelly's comfort level and his maybe relationship with Hunter, knowing that Hunter would react that way. That's actually happened just like that in practice against our defense in the past. And so that's just two guys being on the same page, making a big play.
Jeff, do you see much difference in Kelly in real time now versus, say, 10 games ago?
No, I mean, to be honest, not really. I mean, I think we were, is he better? I would say yes. But as far as is there a drastic difference? No, and I think really that speaks more to how impressed we were. A lot of people forget that he went out and made some big plays against Auburn, and that's proved to be one of the best defenses in the country. And without some of the throws that he made in that game and some of the runs that he had in that game, and then also Virginia Tech on the road, Kelly has been, had really good command of our offense from the beginning. Do I think that he's done better and learned? Absolutely. You're always going to learn as it goes, but I don't think there's a drastic difference between, especially who he is. I think one of his best traits that he has is he has that confidence and just that same demeanor no matter if you're down 2 touchdowns or if you're up 2 touchdowns. He plays very consistent, and that's really one of the top qualities that you look for in a quarterback. You don't want a guy that if he misses a few throws and all of a sudden he goes in the tank, but he's really had that consistent demeanor all year long. I do think that maybe he processes things a little bit quicker just from the speed of the game and being out there and having the experience. But overall, I would say he's just, obviously he's had some throws that he would like to make, and my guys have some things they'd like to do on that end too to kind of help. But overall, I'm very pleased, and I think you put him up against any first-year starting quarterback out there. I think what he's done this year is very impressive.
Was there Clemson being back on top in the rankings?
Yeah, I guess it's a good feeling that it doesn't really matter. I can remember how many years ago it was the first time that we got ranked up there, and it was like, wow, this is a really big deal. And we finally are getting back up there, and now it's just kind of become the norm. And that's kind of what we were talking about going into the South Carolina game, playing a top 25 team on the road. That was the message to our guys is, hey, this is just the norm for us. This is not obviously it's a very important game. It means a lot to a lot of people. But this big game, we play in more big games than quote unquote, not big games. And so I think for our guys, they know that, you got to win this game regardless. So it doesn't matter if you're 1 or 2 or none of that really matters. You got to go take care of business. And Coach Sweeney said from the beginning, the only ranking that really matters, before the final ranking is the one coming up here on Sunday once all the games have been played and then they set the teams and all that. So, our guys will be excited to see that whenever that comes out. But, whether we're 1 or 2 I just saw – you see these stats about how many weeks in a row we've been in the top 5 and all that. You look back and go, man, that's pretty impressive, especially maybe where we were a few years ago. But I love that's kind of become the norm, and it's just a quick peek to say, oh, okay, we're number 1 this week instead of number 2. That really is about all the attention that our guys have put in it.
Was there a point during the offseason when you went from wondering how Kelly and this offense would perform in the environments of Louisville, Blacksburg, Raleigh, Columbia to being confident
Yeah.
that he and they would be able to?
I think it was August. Honestly. I think we left spring practice, still with questions with all of our guys at the quarterback position of who would be that guy. And, in August it was going to be a good battle, and Kelly really just kind of rose up and, took charge, and then the rest has been history. But I would definitely say, there was definitely, as a coach, you always have those concerns whenever you're replacing guys, just like we had those concerns, with Mylan Richard going in there for Jordan Leggett. He's done a really good job, and Justin Falcinelli going in there for Guillermo, done a really good job. So we definitely had those questions, but he answered them pretty quick. I'd say after that Auburn game versus that defense, I felt like we kind of knew what we had right there, and he's really done a great job since then.
Jeff, was there a moment? We've all heard the story about Dexter, getting the interception in that spring practice, and how that was Brent's okay. I don't have to worry about him. Was there an anecdotal moment when you just said, "This guy's got it. There's nothing for us to be afraid of"? Kelly.
With Kelly, I don't think there was that moment in practice. I think it was just really just slowly getting better in his consistency, throwing the ball and making the plays versus our defense in August. But I would say for me personally, it was the Auburn game. Just a couple of the key. That was a big time matchup with two great defenses. And two quarterbacks kind of coming in that everybody was high on, and all those type of things. And for him to be able to go out there and play that game as if he was a second or third year starter, we left. That was kind of the moment, very similar to Deshaun Watson versus Georgia, coming in off the sideline in his first drive and firing that ball in there to Sharon Peak versus this exotic blitz. That was kind of the moment for him. And I think for Kelly, and his performance against Auburn was probably that moment